Hello everyone, this is my first video and the first swap I've ever participated in. It was the Secret Squirrel Sewing Box June Challenge sponsored by Jaded Studios More on Facebook. The theme was so retro with retro mod colors, so this is what I came up with. This was a box I got from Michael's and it was just the regular wood box, and so I painted it with a deep red and put crackle medium on top of that, and then added vintage white over that, and then added the varnish so hopefully it won't peel off, and added the half-back pearls around the edge and did a lot of embellishing around this corner edge. Added a stick pin that has a little sewing machine, a little piece of pattern, a pattern image I got off the internet. This is a flourish from Kaiser Craft, and just flowers and ruffled trim and seam binding, and this is old vintage lace that is actually very old and even has little teeny rust marks on it that really gives it a nice flavor. I wound this twill around this little spool, but first I put it through my computer so I could get this so retro on it, and added a little stitching. This is a cutout off of my Cricut. And then I added a little patina rub and buff and also some alcohol inks so that this wouldn't be so bright gold on the clasp here. You open it up, and I tried to make it so that the inside looked good just as the outside does, and then I added some little patterns, also images I got off the internet, and added some fibers and some lace around those. And this is a flower that was made out of some vintage trim that a friend of mine found in an old house that they cleaned out, and I added a flower to the center of that, and it's just gorgeous trim. And also added some twine and some trim on spools and some buttons. Some are vintage and some are new. I just love this little red and white girl button there. And had some measuring tape ribbon here, and some old scissors and old needles and old thimble. And this is one of those Tim Holtz little bottles I filled with vintage buttons. And we've got a stick pin and some flowers and some more trim over here. And then this is a charm that I made using little sewing charms and the beads in the aqua and red. Love those colors. They've really been fun to work with. This is a little wooden sewing case. It actually holds sewing needles, so got some sewing needles in there. Thought that was really cute. I found that at Michael's, and then added some more just pins here to that one. And it has a drawer, which I used a Tim Holtz, took the other knob off and put a Tim Holtz knob on, and filled it with some flowers and some buttons. And this is some of the seam binding that I crinkled and added glimmer mist to. Put it on some cards. And then for the feet, I just used buttons, stacked them together, and made the feet. It turned out pretty neat. And also, we were supposed to do a pin cushion. So this is what I came up with for my pin cushion. I used a Maya Road. It was a canvas mini album, and I just stuffed it and put it on a dowel, and then stuck the dowel in a spool that I'd also painted red and crackle medium, and then the vintage white on the top, and then added the trim, added the skirt and some seam binding, and that's an old vintage earring there, and then a flower and a stick pin and a feather. So it really went together quickly, and it was very fun. And then also I made for my secret squirrel sister a little package that is how I give a lot of my friends some of my seam binding that I have glimmer misted and crinkled, and just add it to a dress form. It's a Tim Holtz cutout, and that also I painted and did the crackle medium on, and I ruffled some old book paper on the bottom and added some lace and then wrapped the seam binding around. Added a stick pin with a little thimble charm and then put it in a plastic bag. Makes for a real fun little gift. And then I also made her a card. This image was painted by my friend Jackie. She does watercolors, so she gave me some copies, and so I made this card for my secret squirrel sister. The Life's a Stitch is stamped on some canvas and cut out. There's also some stitching on the paper and trim added and some flowers. And back behind here I ruffled some pattern paper, 3 rows of it, and then put some lace on top of that. So the cutout is a Cricut cutout that I used. I can't remember which cartridge it was from, but it's a cutout that I resized to make. I wanted it to be able to fit into, I just bought some glycine envelopes from clearbags.com, and I wanted it to be able to fit in there, so it will fit nicely. So it's kind of an odd sized card, but thought that would be different for a change. So hope you enjoyed. Thanks for watching.